as surveys. Well, things will be much different in Washington when Senator Mark Warner gets back to work. Warner and his fellow Democrats are still reeling from historic losses in this year's elections. And we're pleased to be joined by Senator Warner live from Washington to talk about this election and what it could mean going forward. Senator Warner, welcome back to First at 4.
Ryan, thanks for having me back on.
First question for you, Senator. There's obviously a lot of concern that the election results are going to lead to some gridlock in Washington. You've been critical about the ideological extremes permeating politics. You've said that both the Tea Party on the left and the MoveOn.org crowd on the right are hurting the process. Are they one and the same, and why is that a problem?
Well, Ryan, I think what I stated, even if a little bit inartfully, is that if we're going to get things done in the United States Senate, where I work, we're going to need to form kind of the Let's Get Stuff Done caucus, and that's going to be willingness on both Democrats and Republicans to step up and find common solutions to our deficit. That's going to mean having hard conversations about entitlement programs. It's going to mean probably looking at, for those, telling the truth to those folks who are 25 years old today, the chances are they're not going to get Social Security at 65. We're going to have to look at slowly raising the retirement age. We're going to have to make some of the hard choices. And, matter of fact, today the President's Commission on the Deficit came out with a draft, and it really pointed out some of the stark choices. And some of the kind of campaign rhetoric, for example, around deficit is now going to be confronted with the reality of some of the choices we'll have to make. And I think the only way we'll make those choices is if we can find Democrats and Republicans who are willing to kind of put aside some partisanship and find that common ground, kind of what I tried to do when I was governor.
So you wouldn't equivocate the MoveOn.org and people that support that movement to the folks in the Tea Party? You think those are two different types of activists?
Different. I think they're different organizations. I think they're different activists. I think in both organizations there are activists who care deeply, who are very passionate. I think what we have to recognize is that at least my personal belief is that neither political party has all the answers. And that the best place, particularly when you're trying to make major policy changes, is if you can find some common ground and take some good ideas from both sides. Again, I come back to a little bit of a track record with that kind of an approach as governor, and Virginia got named the best managed state in the country and the best state for business.
Now, you're going to have to work with Republicans. One in particular is local Congressman Eric Cantor. Now, I know you don't necessarily agree with him on all points, but do you think it is good for Virginia if he becomes the next majority leader?
Listen, I think it's always good when Virginia has elected officials who are in positions of leadership. I think it's also incumbent upon all of us, particularly in the Virginia delegation, and I've had a long-standing relationship with Representative Canada when I was governor, now as senator, that particularly when it comes to issues affecting Virginia, whether it's the question around the joint forces closing that has been proposed, that uniformly, bipartisan-wise, we oppose Secretary Gates' approach. When it's about trying to bring jobs to Southwest Virginia, which we've worked on, for example, with Congressman Goodlatte and former Congressman Boucher. Politics in terms of particularly Virginia interest ends at our border.
Okay, all right. Senator Mark Warner, thank you so much for joining us, and good luck in the upcoming new session.
Thank you, Ryan.
All right, let's turn now to the